Do we have Antonio Brown? Yes. He was denied. Everybody that paid attention to the internet last week saw the clips of Antonio Brown losing his mind, taking his jersey off, tossing it to the crowd, giving a peace sign, running out of the game in the middle of it. What was the catalyst to this? Do you know, Tansey? You do sports more than I. Neither one of us are real sportsy. You do more sports than me. I literally don't know why he was pissed.
Well, it was a really heated basketball match. It was taking place in Chicago.
Foosball.
He played for the Chicago Bulls, and no, I'm just kidding. But no, I've said this on the show many times that we in sports, mainly LeBron James, soccer has perpetuated this in children. And being that I'm a dad of rugby players and a dad of skateboarders, I get to see other sports and kind of see this trend that is pushed on by soccer and basketball of flopping. If the game's not going the way we want it to go, if we're not having the game that we wanted it to do, or the outcome, we didn't score the touchdown or we didn't get the first down, whatever it is, we flop around and we make all the attention on us until we get what we want. If you go to a college football game, every single play that happens after halftime is an injury timeout. It's the most ridiculous thing. I don't like watching college football because every single one of these athletes has a cramp and they lay on the field until everybody comes out and gives them attention, and then they stand up and walk off. That could never happen in rugby. It just won't happen. What I really like to see, and pay attention next time you watch football, is watch these guys limp to a sideline, and then just before they get to the sideline, they lay back down. And what they're doing is they're trying to let their players get an extra rest, but what they're doing is retarding the game. They're flopping around to get things to go the way that they want it to go, instead of dealing things with reasonable adults.
Which is funny because a lot of American football fans mock soccer for the flopping. And I'm like, have you watched football or the NBA? Give me a break. It happens every freaking game.
That's why you got to switch to rugby or hockey, because they're not doing that in those sports. But the thing with Antonio Brown is things weren't going the way he wanted them to go. He wasn't, and I don't know the whole facts on this. I know there's questionable things, but that's not the way you handle it. As an adult in a civil society, that's not how we do things. We don't take our shirt off and throw temper tantrums to get what we want. You know,
do it for the gram.
That's the theme. That's kind of like what our culture has become. Like, let's flop around and act ridiculous so that we get what we want through attention. This week, my son, it was his 9th birthday on January 6th, a day that should live in infamy, my son's birthday. That was more important to me than what happened at the Capitol. But my son, we had a birthday party that we planned a long time ago, and we paid a lot of money to rent out a facility, a skateboarding Olympic style facility, training facility owned by an Olympian. And this was a Disney World type moment for my son on his 9th birthday. 15 of his friends were invited to this thing. A lot of them were skipping school that day. Parents were taking off of work.
Hell yeah,
to have this private facility. And at 9:00 the night before, this facility cancels on us. As my son's already asleep with his skating clothes on because he's so excited to go to this event the next day, which was yesterday. And their excuse was due to staffing issues because kids are back in school and they have other work-related priorities. We cannot open the facility for you tomorrow. And I was like, well, wait a minute. We booked this a long time ago. We confirmed with you on Sunday. And I thought it was handled very well. We didn't get an apology. We didn't get anything. Now, could I go and say the name of that sports complex on this podcast and really make a big deal and get all of you guys to go give 1-star reviews? Because at least 100, I bet you I could get 200 of you to go give this company a 1-star review, and they only have 180 reviews, period.
Yeah.
And I could really wreck this business and really make us skeptical of it. Go on the social medias with all of our followings and really put these guys on blast. But that's not how you deal with things as adults. What we do is we email, we have, hey, how do we make this right? Yada, yada, yada.
So is that what when your sons come to you and be like, Dad, what is it? What's being an adult all about? You're like, son, have you heard of email? I'm gonna explain to you how you act like an adult.
Yeah,
we're gonna sign you
call
up for
these
an email
guys,
account.
Get their side of the story. You see how it can make it right. You don't just jump right into blasting. And that was what I heard yesterday from some of these teenagers. Were like, you should go on your podcast and tell everybody about it and give them to give 1 stars. Yeah, that's great, but that's not. I don't believe that's how adults should act. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. I'd like to talk with them. I'd like to have a conversation with them, whether that's over email or in person, figure out how do we not let this happen again? How do we make it right? And give them an opportunity to make it right rather than just go in and ruin their business, because that's easy, right?
Yes.
But it's not the adult thing to do. And then I think Antonio Brown in this situation, instead of going up the chain of command and trying to work a way around this, he was just like, no, I want justice and I want it right now. I'm going to take my shirt off and run around the field and act like a child.
Yeah. So he pulls this, I guess, modern day adult tantrum and then bolts out of the stadium and ends up, there's all sorts of pictures of him standing outside the stadium.
No shirt on.
With a suitcase, just standing there trying to get a ride. And he asks a couple of the state troopers for a ride, and they basically tell him no, right? Like, we got a picture of him here. He's not shirtless in this, but he's got like a funny painter hat on. That's what it looks like. Is that his hair? It's his hair? Oh, yeah, it looks like one of those black little painters that you would see, like the palette, a beret,
like a French person wearing
painter
a beret.
beret. Yeah, that's what it is. Like he needs a palette of paint in his hand. That's what it looked like. I didn't know it was his hair. My bad. That's probably.
But you know what? You bring attention to yourself, Antonio. So now we have to make fun of you.
Yeah, so he ends up trying to ask these troopers for a ride. The news article doesn't really doesn't give their perspective, right? Like on why they said no. Did they know that he threw that tantrum? Did they know who he was? Or they're just like, no, we're not a taxi service. We're not just giving people rides.
Hang on, man. I'm getting paid like $35+ an hour. They're state troopers. They're probably getting like $40 an hour. I'm getting paid $40 an hour to stand here and watch a football game and make sure nobody does anything stupid. And you're the only one that's doing something stupid, but you're leaving, so you're not my problem.
Right.
So he's going to go home. Hopefully he sleeps it off on a ghost bed.
Yeah.
Ghost bed's back, baby. Ghost bed's back.
Clearly AB does not sleep on a ghost bed, or he wouldn't be so cranky. He wouldn't be so easily agitated. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this clip of the Failure to Stop podcast. If you like the show, the clips that you're seeing here, you can listen to the full episode wherever podcasts can be found. Be sure to drop that 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to connect with us on social media, look for Failure to Stop, whatever platform you're on.